Today, we're gonna be going to a brand new location I have never been to. Well, I've been close to. Right across the valley is Sendini, so just 2 miles over is a place called Onde. I've never been there, never landed, kind of know what it looks like, but this is gonna be an extended cut version. In one of my previous videos, I was just asking you guys for suggestions on what you guys would like to see. And one comment was saying, hey, I'd love to see an extended version, more on the ground content, and maybe a little bit more behind the scenes stuff. So that's what I'm gonna do today. Leave a comment below if you guys like it. If you don't, well, you don't have to watch the extended cut. Let's get the plane pulled out. I still have to fuel. I'm already loaded from yesterday, so I'll show you what my loading is today. This is a charter flight. Let's get pulled out. Okay, here is my loading for today. I've got a bunch of like roofing stuff and then just some other random stuff. And then I've just got some cargo under here and underneath there. So I've got 130 here and 120 here. And what I'll do here in just a minute is I'll go over the weight and balance with you guys so you can see exactly where I am on the CG. This is pretty far back here, but it should still be well within. Oh God.
What are you working on the morning for then?
It's all for looks.
Yeah, no kidding.
Can you come help? It's too heavy.
Me?
Just press on the rivets. Ready, go. Come on, all right. Thank you. I've hurt my shoulder before trying to do that, so I've learned my lesson. And fuel order, Bloomy. Thank you. This is FlightSpan. It is the app that we do all of our flight planning, all of our fuel planning, everything on, all of our billing. It's really kind of the one that does everything. It's really handy. This is my flight for today. We're in November, Tango Echo, and heading out to Onde. So if I click on the top tab, nav tab, I want to be landing back here with 400 pounds today, which is about an hour and 20 minutes or so, roughly. My minimum is an hour landing here, so I have an extra 20 minutes, but I'm also gonna do a few circuits out there potentially, so I wanna have an additional like 120, so basically 30 pounds per circuit. So if I were to do a go around and maybe 3 circuits, 120 pounds. So I wanna have my minimum fuel of 520, which gives us 830 pounds. That's what I just told these guys, 830 pounds. We're heading directly out there. We're gonna be going out at, I think 9,000 is what I filed for, coming back at 8,000. Sten,
Yeah?
do you have a manifest?
Yeah. 816.
816, okay, thanks. He'll get a paper manifest for me, but 816 will at least give me enough that I can do my weight and balance with you guys. Let's head over to weight and balance. We don't have any seats on board today. We had 130 in the front pod, 121 in the second, but I think they're gonna be bringing just a little bit of extra food just to top it up. So let's go 126 on that. So we've loaded 256, 833 is my max. So I'm gonna do 830 because I'm thinking they're probably gonna bring in a little bit extra, 15 kgs at most. Minus 256. Leaves us with 574 back here. And I know I've got 70 kgs, 75 kgs right here with bags, and then the rest is the roofing stuff. What's up? Is that it?
824.
824, thanks. 824 minus 256 leaves us with 568. I know I have 75 here. Leaves us with 502 remaining, and I'm going to fill these 3 little slots with that remaining 502. So 502 divided by 3 is 167, plus 167, 167, 167. So we're at the top of our CG envelope, and you can see as I'm burning my fuel, it's just moving forward. Closer towards the rear, but still well within. Now for the walk around. I've done this many times with you guys, so probably not going to go into too much detail, but I'm going to do a quick walk around. We've already done weight and balance. We're fueled. I think we're ready to go. The weather down here, down to the south, is really nice and clearing. When we came in, it had quite a few clouds, like really low, so I thought I might be going all up to 11,000 just to make my life easier and I don't have to be mucking around down in the clouds and the valleys. But 25-minute flight out there, so I'm going to walk around, and then I think we're ready to go. Check to make sure all my VGs are here on this side and that side. I can only be missing 1. Don't think you guys can see it, but inside the pitot, those little holes, I'm looking to see if I can see light through those, so it's not blocked that way. Turn my aileron. That way I can see up here a little bit easier. Get all my hardware, make sure I don't have any dents, anything like that in there. Let's throw our flaps down. You can see there's also VGs on the back of the flaps, but I'm checking under here for any damage, any dents. This one doesn't have one, but one of our planes has a big old dent right there on Kilo, I think. Make sure I don't have any rocks up there. Believe it or not, yes, we have had rocks flick up from here up and getting stuck up there. This, I believe, is finished. Everything's tied down really nicely. Make sure I'm getting full control movements, top to bottom. Got VGs back here, making sure they're all here. On that side, I've got 2 static wicks here on each, 2 there, 2 over here, and 4 right here. Make sure these hit the stops. Both sides. Make sure the trim tabs feel about 1/8 to 1/4 inch, usually about 1/8 up and down. Again, I'm not going into great detail with you guys, so I'm looking at things but not mentioning every single thing I'm looking at for the sake of the time for this video. All right, this is the engine nacelle. Making sure everything looks good. I don't have any leaks that I didn't have on my last flight. Check the condition of the tire and the landing gear and strut. Make sure I don't have any damage to that at all. We do beat the living snot out of these airplanes, it seems. Check the condition of my prop. Make sure I don't have any massive nicks out of it from rocks. In here, I'm just checking my oil. And we're at 3 low. And when it's cold, I can have up to 4 low. When it's hot, I can have up to 3 low. There's an abbreviated walk around with you guys. Again, this is not everything I'm checking. I am checking more stuff, but for the sake of this video, let's make it quick. Hey Sten, do you have a number for anybody in Sendeni that we can call for weather?
Mi call kisim weather no rambi na pilu.
No, Sendeni.
Oh, Sindeni ya.
I mean, look on day upside low mountain.
Yeah, I'm top lande.
Oh, okay.
So I'm look lande and top.
Ask him suppose plenty when he stop.
Now we name also name big or.
No got wind down.
Okay.
So cloudy stop on top low on day now yet.
So now cloud stop one day yet.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Well, clouds are on the ground in Ande. This guy was in Sendini, which is just across the valley, about 2 miles away, directly across from there. So I guess we'll wait a little bit longer. We'll give him a call maybe in another 20 minutes or so because the weather does change pretty quick. Don't know if you guys can see this, but there's water at the bottom. I don't know if it was already in this or if it was in my tank. So I'm gonna go drain this and then do it again. All good. I have to flip both of the fuel on so that I can sump all of these, otherwise only half of them actually will sump. This one has a little bit of a orangish tint to it because there's a little bit of oil mixed in. This is the EPA can. You can Google that and figure out what it is. And you can also see there's a little bit of water droplets, it looks like, in there as well. That's pretty normal for this one. That is it. We are now ready to go. Before we start, oops, we've got 830 pounds of fuel. Fuel both on. Started so we can get on our 25-minute flight.
On track at 4-1.
Energy stabilizes, oil pressure comes in as far as it can. Flow's coming in nicely, NG is coming up at a nice normal rate, ITT up at a nice slow rate as well, and peaks out at 6:15. Keep one of these earbuds out just so I can hear startup easier, that's why I do that. This is a DG form. I've got a little bit of oil on board today, so I just need to sign that to verify that I acknowledge that it's on the plane. Generator on, that spikes up a little bit. Alternator on, a prop isn't quite coming out of, hello, let me just bump up this, there we go. It's on the first morning flight, it just takes a little bit longer to get going. And our flight plan, we don't have one saved because I've never been there before. There we go, let's do our buddy check. Our fuel selectors are both, we've checked our caps and our selectors. Our controls are good, Hotas will leave enabled, our switches and instruments, we're going up to 9,000 I believe on our way out. My rotate speed today with my weight is 62 knots. Oh, and if we had to come right back in, it would be 73 knots. Our flaps up to 20 degrees, get our trims going while the flaps are coming up. And we'll verify that we are at 20 degrees flaps, which we are. Grogan Tower, good morning. November Tango Echo, request taxi on day 1 POB.
November Tango Echo, clear to taxi, backtrack and line up 17 left, QNH 1022.
1022, click backtrack lineup 17 left, November Tango Echo. Clear right, clear left. We'll do our governor's speed, overspeed check right now. Add power, watching my NP, it should be 2070 plus or minus 50. Let go of the button, and it should rise up over. Once I get on the ground out there, I'm going to be loading my plane up with coffee, raw coffee beans, and big huge 50 kg bags. Plan to do a little bit of a walk around, because I've never been there. I want to walk the airstrip just so I have a better understanding of what it looks like walking down. If we have any, bumps or anything else, I can just look at it visually. So stay tuned to the end. Again, this is an extended version. I haven't done one of these before. I'll leave a comment if you guys are liking a little bit more of this content. Again, normally I can't do this because I just don't have time. Just for reference, on Monday, I had 5 flights. I have 1 today. We'll be 50 knots by our taxiway. We'll remain on the runway. After takeoff, we'll pitch for 85 knots, considering EPL, considering feather, cut off, pull off, and shut off if EPL doesn't work. 85-80 full flaps, emergencies, masters, and crack my door. Ignition inlet and lights are complete. November Tango Echo ready for departure.
November Tango Echo 17 left, left turn, and clear for takeoff. 17
left, left turn, clear takeoff, November Tango Echo. Ignition condition, flaps 20, fuel and harnesses. Checklist is complete. 1390, rotate 62. All right, torque is set, looking around 720 for the ITT. Airspeed's alive. There's 50 continuing. There's 62 and rotate. I just hold it there and don't do anything else, and it flies itself off. ITT, we'll just bump a tiny bit back to 740. Once we're up over 300 feet, we'll go 10 degrees of flaps. Once it starts settling in, once we get over 90 knots and nice and climbing, good rate, then we'll go ahead and get the last degrees of flaps out. Looking down that way, the mountain right over there is at 8,000 feet. Clouds are a little bit above that, so I might be going up to 11,000 because I don't really want to have to just be kind of wiggling my way through the whole way. Bring our prop to 2,000 RPM. And bring open our iPad so I can figure out when I'm going to get there. Blue lights, bypass igniters. Croker Tower, November Tango Echo, departed time 48. We're tracking 157 on climb. Amended 1000, estimating on day 13. Making the decision, 11,000.
November Tango Echo, copy departure, another of 11,000 amended. No report traffic OCD at this stage, and contact Mosby 15 miles and 120.7 or 6622.
1207, 6622 at 15, November Tango Echo. 6622, which is not work on this one, so we have to put it in manually. Lovely. 6622. There we go. QNH is flashing because we're going through 7,000 feet as a reminder to turn it down to our local QNH, our area QNH. We did call back out there. Actually, the guys out there called us and said, hey, the clouds have lifted. You're good to come. So I hope that's the case. I'm actually going to put in a different spot along the way. AG. That's the Mariwaka Gap. That would just give me a little bit better of an accurate representation of exactly my track today. Actually, 900,000 could have barely worked. Here's 9,000, but we'll go up to 11 just so we don't have to wiggle our way right along the tops of these clouds. Coming up to 10,000. Once we pass that, it's going to start flashing. Right up there. It's a visual cue, let you know you're only 1,000 foot yet to go. Once this passes 10,800, it's going to have a chime. That'll let me know I have 200 feet to go. There we go. Now I'll hit vertical speed and altitude select on my autopilot, and it will automatically level itself off. There we go, that little dotted line, that's our 15-mile mark. Let's call up Moresby. 1207. Moresby 1207, November Tango Echo transfer.
November Tango Echo, Moresby, good morning, Dad.
Good morning, November Tango Echo, 15 miles to the southeast of Goroka, maintaining amended 11,000, estimating on day 17.
November Tango Echo, area QNH 1012, noise for the traffic.
1012, November Tango Echo. Got our torque up at 1250, we're really close, there we go, just bouncing around. Our prop is at 2,000 RPM. And get a little bit of that right rudder pressure out, because once we got leveled off, we no longer at like this high angle of attack, needing all that right rudder pressure to keep our nose straight. Now it's a perfect time to go over the strip chart while things are slow. I just made this chart up last Friday because I'd never been there, so we had to have a chart so that we have all of our parameters and our what we can take off with, things like that. So we come up here to the top, make sure it's on day. One-way airstrip, touchdown zone is 5,300 feet, touchdown slope is 6%, so we won't add any extra knots to our approach speed. 480 meters long, and it's a Class C. We can land with 1 knot of tailwind full up. Caution, do significant downdrafts on short final with quartering right headwind. Pilots have experienced 10 knots drop in airspeed near committal point on final and quartering right headwinds. Our go-around is this little red line, so probably not necessarily at the river, but somewhere around there. I am full up. This is my very first time. I'm going to be doing a go-around on my first one. For practice, for one, I need to do practice, and I need to kind of get an idea of where is a safe point. So I'll probably go a little bit earlier than I normally would today, because I'm not familiar with everything. Here's the profile of it, starting at 5%, going up to 10% slope, but touchdown is probably around 6%. And then taking off out of there, we'll have a 220-ish kg penalty takeoff. So I don't have any drone pictures yet, but I hope to get some today because I have a new drone. If you're interested, it's the DJI Mavic 3 Pro. I think it has 3 cameras. It's the drone I've wanted forever. Sold my old one a couple days ago, and have this one now. First time I've used it. This will be the first time, so I'm very excited. There we go. That is what we're looking at. So we said landing performance is going to be 73 knots. I've already got that in today. What we can do, we can put in 8,600 feet for our Mariwaka Gap. Come on down here. We're going to do 700 feet per minute, and it will let me know when I need to start my descent heading down to the Mariwaka Gap. Well, the winds are heading out from the east today, so that means I'm gonna be landing in on heading 120, I think it was. So I'm gonna kind of have like a quartering left crosswind coming in. Now it's down in the valley, but it's probably gonna be fairly turbulent. Looking ahead on all these ridges, we do have some kind of sprinkles down kind of along those ridges. Mariwaka Gap looks like it might have maybe some misty kind of sprinkles. I'm hoping that the whole valley underneath, once we get underneath this cloud layer up there, I'm hoping it's opening up. Wow, the winds just jumped up to 21 in like 5 seconds. It's gonna be pretty bumpy getting through that valley there, because as all the wind hits all the mountaintops, it hits it and then it starts swirling all the wind, creating a bunch of turbulence.
Vertical track.
There we go, let's head on down. Let's do one more quick look at the chart. I'm going to fly overhead, basically a full circuit, turn final just before Sendeni. That's what this other airstrip is over here, 5,800 feet. I'm going to go around the riverish or this hill, one of the two. We're going to do a left-hand turn out of there, power up 20 degrees of flaps, be setting ITT to the top of the green. Fairly heavy. We'll be turning into the wind, which is good, but it is going to be probably still a little bit uncomfortable. Lots of go-arounds when you're full up are a little uncomfortable. All stations, Mariwaka Gap area, Kodiak, November Tango Echo, currently 7 miles to the north, passing 10,000 on descent for on-day. We'll be transiting the Mariwaka Gap. Let's do our buddy check for landing. Our selectors, our brakes are good, our TAWS is turned off, our VREF is already set up. Our lights and inlet are on. We just talked about our abort. All stations on day, Kodiak Nova, Tango Echo, 10 miles to the north. Will be circuit on day overhead, 16. Let's come over here to the left so we can take a look into the valley a little bit easier than just going straight ahead. It's gonna be a problem getting in, but I do see kind of sprinkles and rain up ahead, and I want to make sure that I can get through and on the other side safely. And it's going to start getting bumpy. I'm going to level off at 9,000, give myself a little bit more margin going through this gap. Actually, I'm going to give myself a little bit more than that. It's quite bumpy. I could feel downdrafts. Alright, the range just looks like it's on the other side of the mountain range. Looks like the inside of the middle of the valley looks pretty good though, so far. Let's hit our OBS button. Heading 120 for the runway heading. And it will put a line over here, what the orientation of the runway is. Oh yeah, a little bumpy. We'll see how the circuit goes. It's going to be really bumpy and windy. I don't know, we'll see. I don't have to land today. I can always head back. If it's just too much, then that's what we'll do. But it's just not worth taking chances, but we'll see how it is down there. But it's pretty bumpy up here. All stations on day, November Tango Echo, and the circle will be flying overhead to join circuit on day. Break Moresby, November Tango Echo, in the circuit on day, report after landing. Moresby 6622, November Tango Echo. Looking at smoke down there, that's my windsock. And it looks like there's maybe a tiny breeze. here I've got 10 knots behind me. I've got a little bit of smoke right over the end of the threshold, kind of, and it's not really doing a lot, which is a good sign that the winds on the actual ground are not terrible. Once I get down a little bit lower. Moresby 6622 November Tango Echo. 10 degrees of flaps. I think that might have been there. Moresby November Tango Echo in the circuit on day. Report after landing. November Tango Echo. Going 6,300 feet for pattern altitude. 10 degrees of flaps already. 73, 83, 93, 93 on downwind. The smoke's just going straight up at the end of the runway. That's good. Windsock's hanging left right down there, so at least over the top of the runway, it's good. It looks like, yeah, at the riverish kind of because I'm full up. The river is going to be about my safe abort point. We'll head up this valley right here and climbing into the Mariwaka area. Windsock's limp. Fast looks good. Maybe a tiny bit long at the bottom, but it doesn't look bad from here though. 3 knots here. Winds are now coming from this direction, so it's going to be probably some swirling wind. 20 degrees of flaps. Down to 6,000. 93 knots. We are going around the first one. Power up, 20 degrees, left-hand turnout, resetting ITT 740.
500.
Winds are down low right now. Up 6,000, slowing to 83. Turning final 5,800, just before Sendini. Full flaps now. About 80 feet high, turning final. There's 73 almost. Add a little bit of power. Now crosswind. This looks pretty good. 650 on the descent.
500.
Couple knots fast. There's my go around. It's past the hill. This looks pretty good right here. I'd say, yeah. I'd say at the river. Let's go around. Up with the green for ITT, lots of right rudder pressure. We'll just head up this valley right here. Winds felt really stable there. I think the river is probably a good, safe area. We could go ahead and start pitching up a little bit more. To 14 degrees on the altitude indicator and then kind of let it settle on down at 12. I'll give us my best angle of climb. Most amount of altitude and the shortest amount of distance. I probably could have pitched up a little more than that, but didn't really feel like I needed to. Okay, yeah, winds are definitely swirling. They're all behind me now, so let me pitch over so I'm not losing my airspeed too quick. Let's take a left-hand turn back into the circuit. So what I need to do on this next one is I need to be a little bit lower over top of this ridge because my base is really short. I really need to be maybe like 6,000 on the dot going over top of this so that I'm kind of making my turn more like 5950, something like that. And that way I'm turning, I mean 5,800, maybe even 5,750 because the first tiny bit of it I had 900 feet per minute on the descent. So looks like we might have a little bit of a right quartering, or a right crosswind actually. Not bad though, but just ever so slight, maybe one knot down there. Let's go 20 degrees of flaps. And start heading on down. There we go, there's 6,050. That looks like about as low as I can get.
500.
Top of this ridge right here with no wind. Probably have a little bit of bumps on the other side. Now heading on back down. There we go, there's 5,900. Now turning base, let's try that. We're looking for 83 on base. Heading on down to 5,800, turning final. Extend the final out just a bit more though. Let's go full flaps. Checklist is complete as far as we can go. Turning final. We're at 5,850 right now. For 73 knots. 500 on the descent. $500 on the descent, looking good. A little bit slow.
500.
4 knot headwind, 3 knot crosswind. 650 on the descent. Runway's clear. Not the headwind. 700 on the descent, a little fast. Committed. 73 knots, 600 on the descent.
500.
Knot headwind, left, right knot, or 4 knot crosswind. There we go, even exciting for me. Shut down, we'll walk around, we'll get all that coffee, those bags over there, that's what that is. Get those loaded up, throw the drone up for you guys, get a little walk around and see what the place is like. Orsby 6622 November Tango Echo on the ground, on deck, cancel SAR.
November Tango Echo, on deck, SAR is terminated.
November Tango Echo. Our uphill fuel off so it's not draining into my left tank.
Morning. Name blow me Ryan. And first time you put down low hop low pla. You got how much pla bags?
17 then.
17 huh? Alright, but me kisim savi now yet lo how much me na plo kisim. And behind actually now yet you can just rouse him out cargo pastime. All got the something blowing pla. Can you go out? Maybe just go low hop. Or could you bump him as below barrels from you?
What again? That look action.
Figure out how much coffee we can get. I was going to do maybe some few flights here, but I think one is honestly enough. It really is not that hard of a place to come. Go over to weight and balance, 0 seats on board. We've got a 214 kg penalty getting out of here. We've got 640 pounds of fuel, so I can do 772. Winds are fine. Grass is cut really nice. Let's just bump that up to 250 kg penalty. Alright, main upload kiss him 736. So suppose I'm one bag him 50 kgs and about him 14 and a half bags. Load him tupla lo front pod, tupla lo second pod. Sometimes 50 kgs and by fit easy. Suppose I'm a bruise him is like 50 kgs and Korea Tomas. First thing I'm going to do is tie these down, pulling it down nice and tight, and then I'll start working on the sides and then finishing up with the back. And then I've got those 2 ratchet straps that are going to go over top of the whole thing. And I have to have, let's see, it's 530. We have to have at least 12 tie down points to make this safe. So every place I go, when it's a new place, I always like to walk the runway just to find out if there's anything special about it, anything like that. Right here, probably doesn't pick it up in the pictures, but there's some like kind of just all over the place, undulating kind of side to side all over the place. So this will be pretty rough right here. But this looks to be about halfway point. So that's another thing I'm doing, is kind of getting a gauge. This house right here is about halfway point. So as I'm doing my safe abort point, that way I can just go, okay, that building is my halfway point. I need to be airborne by 70% point, which is closer, just past this house down here. So I would say by that tree, that lone tree right there, that is my 75% mark. I need to be airborne by that point. Feels like I got a little bit of a headwind for takeoff, which is nice, but it might switch right into a tailwind as well, because it just swirls all around here with all these mountains. Now name lo you?
Danny.
Danny.
Yeah.
Okay. You got MAF agent lo here too or no guy?
Yeah, me got and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. All right. Now MAF so go come plenty lo here or just one time?
One time.
Oh, okay. One chara. Okay. All right. I also like to come down just to see where I touch down, see if it's a safe and kind of comfortable area. I usually go for about 60 meters in from the end of the runway, and you can see my tracks right here. There's the cone right there. If it's 60 meters, it looks like I just landed right past it somewhere. But it looks like for my departure, it's gonna be a really nice lowering terrain. So even if I'm super heavy and I got tailwinds, things like that, I can always just peel off to the left down the valley to lowering terrain. And you guys can see these bushes right here. These are coffee actually. And that's what we're flying out today, is from all these bushes out here. That's all coffee. If I were to touch down in the spot that I was wanting to right here, it looks like pigs have come down here. This is like a pig, huh?
No, I told man.
Oh, just man's trading or something, huh? Okay. All right, so it looks like just down below here, there's quite a bit taller grass, so I don't really want to land anything really sooner than the first cone, because this is a kind of a really draggy kind of grass and quite a bit longer. But as you guys can see, my departure looks incredible. Super easy. I mean, dropping like at least 1,000 foot over here. If I, worst case scenario, I could always just peel off all the way down around there, and it's just lowering terrain for miles. Well, there you go, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this trip out here to Ande, my very first time, your very first time. Give this video a thumbs up if you did like this extended cut version. Maybe I'll do more when I have time. Again, I don't normally have time like this, but it's a beautiful day, my only flight, and I wanted to give you guys kind of the full experience on what it kind of looks like from my day. So I'm gonna pack up, head back to Grok and do a time lapse back for you guys, and see you next time.